I just love this blue tassel so much. The finished object of this, which I think will be a cabled sweater, is just stuff of dreams, I think. I'm not going to take it off ever. This yarn, this pattern book, let's do it! And while I, during my Tour de Fleece episode, said that I might make this, the orange sweater has been coming to me in my dreams. It has been haunting me while I'm awake. It'll be the orange sweater. But then grey, because blue tassel isn't orange, of course. Let's cast on as quickly as possible, because I am way too excited for this. I don't know if you remember that I lost my calculations onto how many meters of yarn I would need for this. Well, it was just right here by the pattern, which is a great place of putting stuff, but apparently not so great to remember that you put stuff there. I calculated that for the orange sweater that I want to make, I would need 1080 meters of the blue tassel that I have been spinning. Now, I did spin more than 2000 meters, so theoretically I could make 2, but let's see how far we get. Don't get ahead of ourselves. Size inclusivity, Flair in the 1990s did not have it. It says that this pattern is for a size 36 to 40, so that would correspond with a 36-inch bust to a 40-inch bust. But there is only one direction. It's like a one-size-fits-all. So you start with 80 stitches, and that should fit everyone from size 36 to 40? Yeah, I'm a little bit confused and also a little bit scared that 80 stitches might not fit me, even though I am technically on the smaller size of this pattern. My gauge swatch was kind of correct.
Now, before any one of you start chastising me for being just kind of correct, what I was trying to convey was that my width was spot on. It was only the height that was a little bit off, but that was okay for this pattern because it doesn't give you instructions with rows but in centimeters.
So we'll see. I'm going to start with the border and then see whether this would visually fit me. If it doesn't, I'm going to up a needle size, which is not what I usually do. I have a pretty loose gauge, so mostly I have to go down a needle size, but that's with modern patterns, so maybe the 90s are different. I don't know. The yarn is, however, super nice to work with, as I had expected. But just look at this fuzz! Oh yeah! No, don't focus on that, silly camera. Focus on my yarn. Hey! I hope you saw that. Look at it! Haha! Blue tassel. I'm still so much in love with blue tassel, not just for spinning it, but knitting with it as well. However, I think it was a very good idea to not do the very intricate cabled sweater, but instead go for a, more basic design, because this blue tassel yarn is very variegated and not everything reads as clear, especially these structured stitches over here. I feel like both the beautiful colors of the blue tassel and the stitch design are fighting for attention with one another. And I think if I would have all over cables on this, that would be even worse, the fighting, And I don't like fighting, I'm very peaceful and pacifist. So I think this was a good choice, because I still want it to be a cabled sweater, because I think the yarn is just such a rustic, pastoral character that just screams cabled sweater. Yeah, I started this morning. I knit a little bit before I went to work, and then I also knit on my lunch break, and now knitted a little bit after I got home from work, and I got this. Nice! I like being a fast knitter. Now, I also knit this one fast because both the yarn and the pattern are interesting to me. If neither the yarn nor the pattern are interesting to me, knits can take quite a long time. But if they are, then my brain wants to see the result from the next row, and the next row, and the next row, and the next row, and before you know it, you're done. Why are you looking confused like that? Oh yes, of course, we were much farther than just a cast on. In fact, I have already finished the entire back piece in less than 48 hours. Yesterday I had the opportunity to be passenger princess, so I could just knit for like 3 to 4 hours straight. I don't know about you, but like this 3mm needle is approximately my favorite size of knitting needles. Around that 2.5 to 4mm range is what I like best. How about you? Maybe are you a bulky knitter or a very fine knitter? Coincidentally, this thickness of yarn is also my default yarn to spin. There probably is some kind of coincidence. I kind of feel bad to interrupt this silent moment that we had with the elements. You may have seen that actually my microphone was always turned on. I had every intention to talk to you guys in these moments, but nature had more to say. If you get what I mean, sometimes it is just the most healing thing to just connect with nature. And I think that knitting with handspun yarn does almost the same thing. It's of course not the same thing, but it comes so close. It's such a deep connection with nature, with our ancestors, our foremothers and forefathers that used local, pure sheep's wool for their clothing, for their daily, regular outfits. And they skirted, scoured, prepped and spun the yarn themselves as well, probably in a very outdoors or in any kind connected with the outdoors environment. Knitting with handspun yarn is just truly magical, and I wish every one of you to experience it. Whether or not you are a spinner yourself, I wish every one of you to experience knitting with handspun yarn just once in your lifetime. It's just something else, friends, and after you've done it, Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, a lot of commercial yarn is very nice. It's just not handspun. I think we're at a week of knitting and got both our front and our back piece. And I must say, I should maybe have mentioned that earlier, that I even made it a little bit longer than the pattern describes or prescribes that you should, because the pattern asks you to start your arm size at 13 centimeters starting from the bottom. Now I went with 21, and you know, that seems to be quite right. With it being a one size fits all for sizes 36 to 40, I didn't trust the pattern to account for my forward movements. I think I did pretty good, because this seems to fit like how I want it. Neatly on the waist. I of course didn't come up with 21 centimeters just by myself. That's the same measurement as my bifurca and Ghost Whisperer tops have. So it should fit. Before I started knitting, I only balled up 2 skeins because I was way too impatient to start with this fiber, and I've got 2 big balls left. So this was less than 2 skeins. That's nice, that's really nice. That means that there will be more Blue Texel garments in the future. And I do want more Blue Texel garments in the future. Because are you seeing this? Are you seeing the magnificent variation that there is in this yarn? I wish you could also feel it, but YouTube doesn't have that ability yet, because it's so it's exactly how you want a nice cabled sweater to feel. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. I've got this special type of delulu where I think that if I start the sleeves, then I'm almost done with my project. I'm really not done with my project. These sleeves are the biggest part of the sweater because it is a cropped sweater, of course. But I'm going to continue living in my delulu that I'm almost done with my project. It's just only the sleeves. And I'm doing 2 at a time, so that should be going double as fast, right? I don't wish to rush my project, to rush this sweater. But as I have told you before, I am a project knitter, so I'm just very excited already for the end result. I want to be at the end result. I want to have my sweater. But we shall savor the moment. We should savor the process of knitting with this Blue Texel. And since we still have some ways to knit, maybe let's start blocking our front and back pieces already. I cannot possibly be the only one that gets slightly nostalgic from these blocking mats. They're just play mats for grown-ups. Yeah, I've run out of whatever yarn that I had already caked up. Almost. Still got quite a bit but one of the cakes that I'm using for one of my sleeves is almost done. So I'm taking like the smallest skein I spun of this Blue Texel to cake up, and then I think I will have enough. So yeah, approximately half of what I did during Tour de Fleece is what we need for this sweater. Yeah, I probably didn't secure the beads that I used for identifying my skeins very good, so now they're everywhere. Ha! We'll clean that up later. There we go. Let's go and finish this. Boop. Wabam! A pair of sleeves on the blocking mat. Oh yeah! And since it's like really hot these days, this is going to dry really fast. I think approximately in about the time that I need to stitch up the body and knit the collar. I hope you all have your low light vision on, because we're working with very low light conditions. But it's August 11th. It is 9:45 in the evening, and I just wanted to tell you on camera that I have finished my sweater. The low light helps that you are not able to see that I haven't sewn in the ends yet. I'm also a little bit... How long is this sleeve? Like, I've got a feeling that maybe my sleeves are a little bit too long. And I started shaping for the sleeve head like 5 centimeters shorter than the pattern says, and they're still quite long. I mean, who only starts shaping for the sleeve head at 51 centimeters? Giants, maybe? Okay, and now I'm going to rest a night and think about what to do with the sleeves. So, my sweater. I wore it around the house yesterday evening, and I have come to the conclusion that these sleeves are too long for comfort. I did not like my hands being covered. I actually prefer my sleeves to be shorter, not touching my wrists. It's a thing I have sensory, but also I like crafting and getting dirty and muddy, and I don't want my sleeves in the way. So, let's do some sweater surgery. I have already amputated one sleeve, but before I'm going to start putting in a lifeline, let's actually figure out how long I want it to be. Because I should have done that before, but you know, I'm sometimes just too fast for my own good. Whoop! Sorry for the noises. Probably also would be really cool as a vest. At least one of the motifs has to go. I think maybe just one full motif. That's still a little bit long for my liking, but like normal sweater length. So I'm going to say one full motif. Yeah. But since this was knit bottom up, I'm going to remove the top motifs for that. Right, that's the plan, let's do it. This is way too hot because today was actually 35 degrees centigrade. Whew! Hottest day of the year, and I'm working on a woolen sweater. I do see the irony, I don't care. I don't know if you can hear the thunder and hail cannons at this point, but that means a couple of things. Firstly, that we might get wet, and secondly, that it also has cooled down enough to comfortably wear this to show it to you. Because I am hecking proud of this sweater. After the sleeve surgery, it is now an unbelievable, perfect fit. perfectly cropped size to wear over cute dresses. My hands are free. Hello, thank you. Yes, it is absolutely amazing. And do you see the color variation of the blue tassel? Is my camera able to pick up all the gray nuances, the 50 shades of gray that this sweater has? I don't think it is, because this is amazing. Let's just make some cute shots, right? And then we'll talk some more. Wow, that's bright. I'm going to move my lamp away. I don't know if this is any better, but we're going to do with it and talk the closing thoughts on this sweater. First, I must say I have hinted at this during the video that it is a little bit modified lengthwise. I made the length from underneath the armpit, so the arm size, to the hem on the bottom longer. The pattern says you should knit for 13 centimeters. I went with 21. And then for the sleeves, it says 51 centimeters before you knit the sleeve head. I took out an entire motif, so one motif is 18 rows, at least 5 centimeters, and I already knit 5 centimeters less, so let's say that I went with 41 instead of 51. That sounds about right. I mostly go for like 45 centimeter-ish sleeves, because I do not have the wingspan of Michael Phelps, and also am not comfortable with my sleeves going past the point of my wrist. I am not an emo kid. I never was a scene kid. I was more the gothic kid, but then in yellow. It is now August 13th. I will not be able to wear this sweater a lot right now. I will probably have to wait until like the end of September, maybe the beginning of October, before the temperatures drop low enough to start wearing this, which is kind of ironic because we literally had to wait for summer to start until like last week or something. You can be sure of it. You can write it down right now, put money on it, that whenever the temperatures drop to below 20 degrees, I will live in this because I love it so much. I already was simping spectacularly over the fleece and then the yarn and now the sweater. This blue tassel, I want an entire wardrobe with it. Not really, because that wouldn't be very sustainable, would it? But just a lot more. And luckily this sweater took me less than 3 skeins of the blue tassel. I have about 3.5 skeins left, so I can make another blue tassel sweater. And I didn't get through the entire fleece during Tour de Fleece, so I can make another probably with what I have left of the fleece, and then there is 2.5 fleeces left. Nice. There's going to be so much blue tassel, I'm sure of it, because this is, it feels so good. Like it's so warm, so rustic, so how you want a good, nice cable sweater to feel. Yes, this is it. And just, you know, the shape, the pattern. The 90s knew what they were doing. The 90s knew what they were doing, or at least Flair's trend breimode knew what they were doing in the 90s with this pattern. To anyone who also participated in Tour de Fleece, how are your projects coming along? Because I still have to grasp the concept that 3 months ago, so in May, this was still on a sheep. And now it's on me. I never thought this project would be this fast. But I am stoked that it is. So yeah, how far are you along with your projects? If you didn't participate in Tour de Fleece, then just tell me what project you're working on right now, because I really want to know. Maybe you inspire me to do other stuff as well. That's going to be it for today though. So, if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, more knitting shenanigans will be found over here. Bye!